Welcome to Perfect Organism, the Alien Saga podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Prater, and I'm joined by my co-host.
Patrick Green, hey man.
Hey, back again.
Hey. We just wrapped a Shoulder of Orion episode. We wanted to hop on really quick because there's been a flurry of Alien Earth news in the last couple of days. And we just wanted to kind of cover some of that and offer some thoughts and also to say hi to everybody.
Indeed. And yeah, we have some breaking news and some things happening in the alien world, and we're excited to talk about it.
Yeah, so the first big one is the huge amount of Emmy nominations that Alien Earth got. It's been nominated for Outstanding Special Visual Effects, Outstanding Sound Editing, Outstanding Fantasy Sci-Fi Costumes, and Outstanding Cinematography for 1 hour series, which those are like big deal awards. And it's great. That's a big deal for a streaming series.
That is a big deal. It's a little bit surprising that they don't have any acting nominations, but traditionally, sci-fi, for whatever reason, the industry just doesn't take seriously. I don't know why. The acting,
Yeah.
Morrow, Babu's acting was amazing in this. I mean, everyone's acting was great, but his acting was the standout. He was, to me, made the most impression on me in the series. I think he was just marvelous. But yeah, but the nominations that they received are fantastic.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah, and it would have been nice to see Sydney Chandler get nominated too, because she did an amazing job. It's cool because it really is a breakout moment for both of their, careers too, I think it ended up being. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. And here's, fingers crossed that they pick some of these up. I feel like I'm surprised Jeff Russo wasn't nominated for the score because I thought that was such a
Yes.
strong suit. And yeah, I mean, it's gotten a lot of accolades, but yeah, it would have been nice to see that. That being said, I mean, we're here to celebrate. Like that's great. That bodes really, really well. And of course, we just got some casting news as well. We just found out that Tracy Ullman, Sam Spruill, and Jerome Flynn have been added to the cast, along with Peter Dinklage, who was announced like about a month ago. Lots of cool announcements coming out.
Yeah, it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. I'm not necessarily excited about the casting announcements, but it's not to say I'm not excited either. I'm just really heading into season two cautious, trepidatious. As you know, by the end of season one, I had just lost all interest in the show, but I'm also hopeful and yeah, I'm hopeful and excited that season two will pull it together for me. But also, I think to your point, a point we made in our Blade Runner update, doing new things is a good thing, even if it doesn't work all of the time. So
Yeah.
it will be interesting. Tracy Ullman, as everyone knows, is she's essentially a comedian, but she's been in many things. She's played serious before. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see how this all shakes out.
I am extremely excited, not only for those other two, but especially for Spruill, because in season 5 of Fargo, like that was one of the scariest performances I think I've ever seen on television. Like
Mm,
his character. Did you watch season 5?
I did not.
Oh man, you gotta watch it just for him. Like that performance was just iconic and terrifying. Like there's such a gravity to his portrayal of his character, who I don't want to give too much away, but his character is like just drenched in mystery the entire time. And genuinely unsettling and but also layered and really interesting and not what you kind of expect him to be, when you first meet him. Yeah, I think Sam Spruill is like an incredible actor, and Noah Hawley clearly has already gotten a performance out of him that blew me away. I thought it was so good.
Mm,
So that really bodes well. And of course, Tracy Ullman brings like a lot of cachet. She's definitely kind of like the big deal announcement for I think most kind of people out there from this, just because she's had, she was in Miss America, she was in the Tracy Ullman show, she was in Ally McBeal, she was, all over the place. Been a lot of movies as well. And then of course, Flynn was Braun from Game of Thrones. So like
yes,
that's
it was an amazing
yeah,
character.
yeah,
Yeah.
great actor, great character, a lot of gravitas. Um, it's cool. I mean, it's worth noting that these are like big names. I mean, Sam Spruill might be slightly a smaller name, although I'm going to tell you right now, like my prediction is he will be the Babu Cisse of this next season in terms of somebody who comes in not super well known and leaves extremely well known. Because I really think that he has what it takes to like have a major breakout. And I'm kind of surprised Fargo season 5 wasn't like that for him. I thought he would be like a household name after that. So maybe this will be, his moment. But I think, yeah, I mean, and Peter Dinklage, of course, is like one of the more bankable actors out there. I mean, he,
Yeah.
can headline things. He gets tons of news all the time. So yeah, big announcements, big deal.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. Also, I think what I like, whatever the season two is going to be or not, we'll know at some point that they got right into production less than a year after the first season.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen that often. We're often, sometimes season twos or the next season, it'll wait a year and a half before they even start pre-production or production. So to know that this is already being filmed as we speak, or we're recording this, and this is going to be out sometime in probably late quarter 2027, that excites me, and we'll see.
Yeah, it's moving right along. I mean, we'll see where it goes. And I think for a lot of us who have, who feel complicated things about the first season, I think I'm more positive on it than you are overall. I really love a lot of it, but there are a lot of things that I have kind of issues with. Like there's things, especially in the treatment of the creature itself, that kind of bother me. And I think Noah Hawley could prove to us with season two that like there was a really good game plan for this, and that it was all kind of leading towards something that then will make the rest of it feel a little more kind of widely accepted among fandom. That being said, maybe that won't happen and maybe it'll be a disaster and everybody will be miserable, but we don't know. All we do know is that lots of cool stuff's happening in the world of Alien Earth, and we're both, excited maybe to varying degrees about it. I'm extremely excited. I really
Yeah,
can't wait.
I think, I think I have expectations, even though as I think about what I said about, Alien Earth season one, I had no expectations. I think that that was wrong. And I think to what I was getting at is I only had the expectations of what I'd seen before, that this was going to kind of fall in line with some of those things. And it didn't meet that. It was different. It was new. But I think really at the end of it, for me, my disappointment really comes from not knowing what that show's about. I don't know. Even though we had amazing performances, gorgeously filmed, great sets, great costuming, I don't know what that series is about. I do not know. And I think the whole like Peter Pan thing, I'm not even going to say I don't like the binary terminology, was this good or bad. I just don't know, that didn't land for me. I'm not even saying it was unsuccessful. It's just it felt like Alien Resurrection. It felt like God. Here it is. Here it is. I've got it. That show does not play in the realism of the original trilogy, and that's what I was looking for. It does not feel that those original
We can
trilogy
definitely agree on
films.
that. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not a realistic documentary
yeah,
style
and that's what I missed. That's what
show.
brought me to Alien, was that these things feel real. These characters don't feel like sci-fi characters. They feel like real people. And in Alien Earth, they don't feel like real people. They feel like sci-fi characters. I also say Alien Resurrection was the same thing. Everyone felt like a sci-fi caricature. And some of those people in Alien Earth, even though they were well acted, felt like caricatures. They didn't feel like caricatures of things that we know, and it just lost all realism. And if you're going to sell me on Alien, you're going to sell me because I think it's real. When I see Lambert responding to her fear, and when I see Ripley trying to figure out what she's going to do, it feels real to me. No, very little in Alien Earth felt real, and that's what I'm going for. And if that's not what they want to do, if they want to disband or walk away from realism, that's a choice that they're making. Does it work for me? No, but I'm open to it for season two, bringing me back in. So we'll see.
Yeah, it definitely feels more like a fable. Like when I think of Alien Earth, I think more of like almost like like a fable, like a scary bedtime story or something.
Mm,
And I personally really like that because again, like we talk about all the time, I like having different flavors and different kind of things to try out and to
yeah,
see what works and see where
yeah.
it kind of lands. And Romulus, which I love, and I feel like I don't like that I've been complaining about it a lot lately, but Romulus, for all of the incredible attention to detail in everything in that movie, doesn't feel real for me either. And I don't know what that's
I would
all
agree.
about.
I would agree.
Yeah, there's something to it that it feels like they are acting in an alien story. Like it feels like they're trying to tell a story using familiar things. And
It's
I don't really
yeah,
want that either, So it's one of those, it's just tough. Like it seems on paper so easy because like we know what makes Alien great. Like we've interrogated that idea for thousands of hours on this show and in our lives. It's not like a mystery. But then why is it that like only Alien Isolation has done it again? You know what I mean? In terms of
yeah.
making everybody go at the same time, oh, that's Alien. Because what you have with something like Alien Earth is you have a lot of us who love it, um, and a lot of us who absolutely despise it, and then a lot of people in the middle who have this kind of complicated relationship where they're like, well, it doesn't really feel like Alien. I don't really know what it's trying to be. It does feels like something else. And but it doesn't have everybody going like, oh, that's an Alien story. And that's tough, but that's a big challenge. We're gonna do a lot of roundtables on season two too, so we'll
Yeah.
talk.
And I would agree with you about Romulus. I mean, I think that there are wonderful things, as you and I both agree with, like amazing things. In fact, I think the whole setup, the beginning of Romulus feels real. It feels like it captures that realism of Alien and Aliens and Alien 3 until they
Like
get up on
Jackson
this.
Star and stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It feels it
But then
feels
as
so real.
But then as soon as they are talking about this floating station that like the only
Yeah.
people who saw it were a bunch of like
I
kids
know.
who
They're the
have
only
access
people, they're
to a
the only people
spaceship,
going up there. Yeah.
and nobody's like, what is this giant station doing float? You know what I mean? And when it came out, I was like defending that a lot. And then I look back and I'm like, why was I don't know, like I do that a lot. I get defensive for things that I love, and then I end up kind of
I do
regretting it
too.
later. But it's because I'm trying to make it work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And but then you look back and you're like, why are these kids like the only people who can see this? Why can they just get off this planet, even though like they're told never to do that? They can just take off
Fly
and they
off
can
the
go
planet.
find it, and
Yeah.
nobody does anything. Like nobody follows them.
Oh, you're
Nobody.
taking away you ship. What are you
Yeah,
doing? Where are you
they're stealing
going?
this huge piece of property to go to another even massively bigger piece of property
Yeah.
that's owned by the company, and nobody follows them or tries to see what that was like. Nobody even tries to see what it
Because
was
the
about.
writing is lazy. The writing
Yeah,
is
and
lazy.
then and the whole way up, you're getting to like quote unquote know these characters, and I mean, the first, literally even to this day when I watch Romulus, I'm sitting there being like, how are they related to each other? Like, what is this? Why are they? Whose sister? Who's like? Why is this? Is this an incestuous thing where she's pregnant? Like this whole time, I'm trying to figure out like why they have this complicated backstory when there's no reason to do that. I mean, we have no idea what level the crew of Alien knows each other. Like, who fucking cares about that, right? We have no idea. Like if you contrast the ascension to Renaissance Station with the descent onto LV-426 and the dropship, nobody gives two shits about what the history with these people are with each other because they're just real people who are just
Yeah.
like living, you know?
Fede should
And
have
you can
never
pick it
even
up and you
said
could be
that
like,
about
oh,
siblings. Yeah.
no, the whole time they're like, oh, this cousin, oh, my parents got killed by a droid, and that's why I'm an asshole. Now, like, we just don't need all that. Like, stop giving us all this backstory. Um, you know, for what it's worth, Alien Earth doesn't do a lot of that. You know, Alien Earth, I think, to me, part of the issues with Alien Earth, for me, it's the cardinal sin of demystifying the alien, which is my least favorite thing that can possibly happen.
Well, that's what killed it for me, honestly. I don't even
Yeah,
care how great everything else was. That killed it dead for
it's a
me.
huge problem. Yeah, that was something I was fighting it the whole time we got through the second half of the season. I was like, oh, please just stop doing this. Like, stop. And then you and I saw it ahead of time and we knew where it was headed. And I was like, oh, people are going to be so mad about this. And
But
it was
you
true. And, you
We've
know,
said this before, though. Do you know what is worse than that, though? Here's what's worse. Okay, they did what they did with the alien. We don't like it, whatever. What was worse was the narrative put in place before we saw it. We're remystifying this creature. We're
yeah,
doing
no,
this. We're making it scary. And then you do the exact opposite.
yeah,
Stop lying to people. Stop lying to
yeah.
people.
I mean, it's tough because they do have to like they do have to talk, you know, and the studio gives them notes on what they're supposed like. That's why everybody before it started was like, we're combining Alien with Aliens and the horror of Alien with the terror of Alien. You know,
Yeah.
the studio gives you things that you like contractually have to talk about during press junkets, and I get that. And you know, the studio is Disney, you know, so like we are stuck with that at this
Yeah.
point. Like that's just what we're gonna be getting.
Yeah.
But you know, the high points in Romulus are extremely wonderful, and the high points in Alien Earth for me are extremely wonderful as well. And you know, I can still watch both of those things and have fun. So we're gonna see what happens with the next season. But I really do like that we are getting real true character actors. I mean, all three of these recent people, they're like really great character actors who bring a lot of like depth and complexity to what they do. And I think it's going to be awesome to see what they, you know, what they do with it. And if the tone doesn't work, you know, it doesn't work for whoever it doesn't work for, but at least we'll know that we'll have good actors attached to it. It sounds like.
True. And I honestly think that they're probably going to, they've reshifted for this series for this season.
I think so too.
I think it's going to be darker. Actually,
Yeah.
even I think Timothy Oliphant said the same thing, that it's going to
Yep.
be darker, a little bit more in line with Alien or the saga that's in place, which I think is great. I'm all for comedy too. I mean, hey, Aliens is comedic. Lots of comedy in incidental comedy in Alien 3, where it's so tense things become funny, and Aliens is the same way. I'm all for that. And I also know that Noah Hawley is a nuanced person. His work is nuanced. It can be comedic. It can be this or that. It's not always this one narrative. It's kind of all over the place in brilliant ways. I don't know if that works all the time with Alien. And I think with Alien, or for instance, with Star Wars, The Last Jedi, a lot of people, a lot of fans were complaining that Ryan Johnson came in and said, "This is what Star Wars means to me," and
Yeah.
people were like, "Well, this isn't really what Star Wars is. You've just come in and arrogantly said, 'This is what Star Wars is,' and I'm changing it, and I don't care what you guys think." And you saw the aftermath of that. We're still living in the aftermath of that, honestly. And I
I think
feel a little
Mandalorian and Grogu was a direct, you could draw a direct line from that to The Last Jedi.
absolutely. Oh, what a mess! What a horrible film that was.
Yeah.
Although it's so funny. I mean, a lot of people, some people really love it, which I think is interesting. Not people can't love things that I don't love. That's not. It's just like, are you not? So you're just fine with
Again, I
nostalgia
think I
baiting the
think
whole
we're all like
time?
looking at different, we're looking at different things. In my experience, the people that I've spoken with who really loved Mando and Grogu are people who really love a lot of the kind of nitty-gritty expanded universe stuff, and it kind of fits in with that, you know. And there's plenty of like alien stuff that I love that I can recognize isn't objectively great on paper, but it just means a lot to me. Like, comic series and things that I love that are probably pretty bad, but like they speak to me in some way. So like I get it. But my bigger point being that like I think TLJ and then of course Rise of Skywalker, I think were like just disasters for Star
Mm,
Wars. I think that the
yeah,
fandom imploded. I mean, I went from being like a lifelong ardent huge Star Wars fan. The second tattoo I ever got was a Star Wars tattoo. I still have my Rancor on the desk next to me. Like I grew up a huge Star Wars nerd.
me
One
too.
of the first things Micah and I ever bonded over was Star Wars and our shared love of it, you know? And I don't even touch Star Wars at all anymore. I mean, I saw Mando and Grogu because I felt kind of obligated to, but I just that was such a toxic experience and it was so shitty and everybody was so mad and the studio did such a bad job and it was just this big mess. So, in that context, I think we're pretty lucky that both of the new, alien things have had a lot of really good fans, and
Mhm.
fandom argues and fandom has negativity in it. That's going to happen, no matter what. But in general, like they had not sunk anything, which is nice, Covenant almost sank Alien. I think that was one of those things where it was such a toxic, gigantic mess. You know what I mean? So who knows what's gonna happen? We're gonna find out, but
Yeah,
hopefully it'll be great.
I, lastly, the last thing I'll say is I long for the day when 85% of fandom comes to a movie, maybe a season or a series in agreement. Something that reminds me of the love, because again, and I can see it in things that we post, what people really love and what people don't. Like you can see it in how like people react to things. And I long for the day when a product, I hate to use that term, or something, a piece of art, whatever, is released that we all mostly love. I long for that. But that to do
Yeah,
that takes time. To do
but
that
it's
takes
coming because that's
maybe.
Isolation 2 is going to
Well,
do that.
aside from Isolation 2, honestly,
Yeah,
aside from Isolation 2, as because as someone who's a non-gamer, even though I love that it
right.
exists, Isolation, and then the sequels coming, I love that it exists and there's a new one coming along. But I want a film. I want someone to realize, hey, you know what? This hasn't been working, and these are the reasons why it hasn't been working. And they're talking to the studio about this is how you make an alien film. And this is what James Cameron did to make this work. This is what Ridley Scott
Yeah,
did in the first one to make it work, and to build those things and to give them time, as opposed to, oh, we got to get you to this set piece and this set piece, and then there's this face hugger, and then there's this egg, and then there's this thing, and then this has
but
to
like
happen, and then we got to end the movie.
you got to look at it back then like that was Ridley and James Cameron, working with like for one thing with 20th Century Fox, right, which was a much more fast and loose experimental like see what sticks kind of a environment in the first place. That was much more hands off. Um, like Ridley was able to ask for more money and get it, and he was able to add a fourth act, and all these things were able to happen with a second time director. Whereas now with Disney, it is so commodified and so specific to like streaming return and things like that, where there are all of these things that you and I don't see because we're not in that room with the studio getting studio notes. But
Mm.
like you know that like they are getting told like, hey, if we don't have X, Y, and Z by this point in the film, we're not going to be doing it because we have to run our first commercial break on Disney Plus at exactly 17 minutes. If this doesn't happen before the commercial break, people are going to tune out. So you're going to need to put a set piece in here. Oh, like, are we gonna, why do we need to put more exposition now in Act Two? Oh, it's because people are going to be joining, at another date, or they're going to watch part of it on streaming one night and then come back to it a month later, and they don't want to have to go back and do research. So we're going to have to make sure that we restate how these characters are related to each other, and it's those kinds of decisions now that were so alien, literally, to what Cameron and Ridley were working with, where for them it was like just this movie would come out and like it would be shown and then like it would be second run, and then eventually, people get it at home on VHS. But like that was a completely different. I mean, 6 months would go by before anybody could see it a second time, minimum. I mean, more than that. I mean, it was in theaters for 4 months. Now it's like, you just everything has to instantly come out and be consumed at home. And so films are being made and shows are being made for consumption primarily at home first. And I really think when you watch something like Mandalorian and Grogu or Moana or these things that Disney's putting out that feel like it was made by AI, because maybe it was, I really think that like it's the quote unquote AI aspect of it is like advertiser algorithms that are driving how screenplays are being written so that they can maximize advertiser return by getting viewer retention across ad breaks. That I think is part of why Fede is not doing the second Romulus film. I would not be surprised whatsoever about that. I think he he worked as hard as he possibly could, did an amazing job, all things considered, but had to fight really, really hard against Ridley and against the studio in a lot of different areas and said, I'm done with that. I'm going back to doing small independent stuff. So we're gonna see, we're gonna
Yeah.
see where this goes. I just, to me, the biggest problem is Disney.
Yeah, here's the good news. Here's the really good news. So, in light of films like the Back Rooms and Obsession doing good from word of mouth is also killing things.
Yeah,
One of the reasons why Mandalorian and Grogu wasn't successful is because people were like, no, this is either number one, it's not good, we're not going to the theater. Number two, this is going to be on Disney Plus in 20 days. Why would we
right.
go and spend money on this? So word of mouth is really causing success or failure. And that's good for us because for Alien, people come to us. Not that I'm going to set myself up to like, I want to kill a season 2 of Alien Earth, but I'm going to tell you what I think of it. And I'm going to tell you publicly what I think of it. And I'm sure, I know you have these people in your life too. We're like, well, hey, Jamie had a really good opinion about this, so I'm going to go check it out. Or, oh, this is unfortunate. I really agree with a lot of what Jamie or Patrick says. I'm not going to go because they didn't like it. That's really king these days. Word of mouth is king because movies are expensive and television takes time and people don't want to spend 2 days or an hour or whatever their time wasting it for something that they could be watching better. And honestly, with shows like Widow's Bay and Severance and Silo season 3 that just came out, which is a fucking amazing show, there is better TV to watch. So they have to make this worth watching. They have to make these films worth watching because word of mouth is going to kill it if they
You know what's
don't.
crazy is Widow's Bay, incredible show, 19 Emmy nominations. You walk into a restaurant and you go on the PA system and ask who's watched it, and everybody's going to be like, "What?"
Yeah,
Like
that's true too.
that's the truth. Is nobody knows what's going on anymore because there's too much of it. But you
Yeah,
go into that same restaurant and ask if somebody saw Obsession, everybody's going to put their hands up.
true,
That's the
true.
difference. There
Yeah,
are
well,
still
TV is
those
a different.
breakthrough things.
Yeah,
Yeah, TV is definitely different, but even movies too. I mean, like even when Romulus came out, which made 4.5 times its budget and was by all accounts a success, people frequently were like, "Oh, there's an Alien movie that came out this year. Like
100%.
that's really right." And I'm
Yeah,
like, "How did you not know about that? Like they spent 80 million on advertising for this fucking thing. Like it's
yeah.
everywhere. But
I
people are
think we're
very
also, yeah,
distracted."
we're also in the age of people not watching prime like network TV. I haven't
Yeah,
watched network TV in 15 years. I only watch streaming. I don't see commercials. I don't pay for ads. I don't see anything. So you're not going to know about these things if you're not seeing advertisements. So I
right.
think that's harder. And to your point, there's so much out there to see. So you better make it worth watching. Just like Blade Runner 29 better be worth watching because it's a small market and Amazon doesn't hold like the market share on viewers. Amazon is a much smaller platform than Netflix. It's probably more akin to Apple. Anyways,
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna see.
yeah,
Last thing I'll say about this, which whatever is the unfortunate truth. I think with word of mouth is it's not even so much word of mouth as it is memeability. That's I think a real thing. I
yeah,
think the reason why Obsession in particular has done so incredibly well is because every time I open Instagram, there's 50 memes from Obsession. People just sharing things and making funny comments about it. Like that's where a lot of this comes from these days is people want to keeping things alive within the algorithms of our social media by making light of them. Um,
agreed.
right. And I think Romulus, I'm surprised Romulus didn't, because it has a lot of like quote unquote memeable things in it, but it never really like took off in that way. And I don't even know where I'm going with that. All I guess where I'm going is to say that the media landscape now is so vastly different from the one that gave us Alien and Aliens and Alien 3. And it doesn't mean we can't still make great art, because in spite of all the memes and in spite of all of the, whatever, Obsession is an amazing film. Obsession is a truly great horror movie, right? Like those things absolutely can still happen and also be memed and be fun in pop culture and be talked about and be popular. We need Alien to get back to that again.
Yeah,
And
indeed.
maybe season 2 will be the one to do it. Who knows?
I hope so. Fingers crossed.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you.